What I do?
I said he had to come get me, I think, last week, so I was trying to get back up here before 6.
Oh my, you can do whatever you want to, Sheila. You can do whatever you want to. You ready to go? Yeah, all righty. All righty, we'll call this meeting to order. We'll begin the evening for a moment of silence. We could pray, meditate, or just enjoy a moment of silence to yourself. Thank you. If you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Moving on to public comment, we don't have anybody signed up. Is there anybody that wishes to speak during public comment? All right, hearing none. Moving on to the approval of the minutes. Are any corrections, additions, or deletions to the minutes provided? Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
Make a motion. A second.
Okay, Keith made a motion, Trevor, a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Moving on to updates from council, if there are any. Any updates? All righty, hearing none. Moving on to the consent agenda. Any questions, comments, concerns, any items on there? I think the only addition that we have since last week is item number 5 of appointing Roy Dickerson to the Tourism and Development Authority Board. All right, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Motion.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. All righty, moving on to our first discussion item, the presentation and annual report from the Asheville Regional Airport. We have Mr. Lou Blue Eyes here, and thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members, town council, appreciate it. You should have been given either electronic version or the hard copy of our annual report from 2023. I won't be going through it, I'll just be touching on that, and that really is for more your pleasure in reading at some point down the future. For 2023, we had, again, 6 carriers operating out of the Asheville Regional Airport: Allegiant, American, Delta, JetBlue, Sun Country, and United. We had 27 nonstop destinations. I won't go through all of them, but the 3 we did add last year was nonstop to Phoenix, daily nonstop to Denver on United, and we added Orlando International Airport in Florida. From a passenger perspective, we had an all-time record of 2,246,000 passengers. That was up 22% from the previous year. Seats in the market was up 23% for a total of 1,373,000. And our load factor, percentage of people in seats, slightly went down to a total of 82%, and that was down 1% over the previous year. Obviously, with the rise in seats and the passengers, the load factors went down a little bit. From an operational standpoint, we had 31,269 airline operations. That's an increase of 16.4%. General aviation and military, we had 49,787 operations, which was down slightly at 4.5%. From a construction standpoint, what we did last year in 23, we continued working on the terminal and the FAA control tower. In 23, we spent roughly $56.8 million. We also added the south shuttle lot, which you see next to the Triangle Marathon gas station. That was at approximately $10 million, and then we're finishing up, and we're in the middle of our master plan update, which I know representatives from Fletcher participated in our core working group on that. From a community standpoint, we did our Runway 5K, which we are doing this coming Saturday. But last fall, we did our Runway 5K, and we netted $25,000 from that. It went to 3 organizations: AB Tech Aviation Foundation, Western North Carolina Pilots Association Foundation. Both of those entities promote aviation and the future. And then our charitable partner that we work with was Big Brothers Big Sisters of Western North Carolina. They got $5,000, the other two got $10,000 apiece. We also continued with our music in the airport, Blue Ridge Honor Flight, Pause for Passengers, it's our Comfort Dog program. And we also, internally with our Asheville team, we did charitable contributions of over $8,000 to various organizations within the community. The economic impact from the airport in 2023 is $2.275 billion for Western North Carolina. So again, we do have a huge impact on our area. Financials for the airport for 23 was operating revenues, we had $24.3 million. Operating expenses of $12.9 million, so we netted $12.3 million to our bottom line. And assets at the end of the year was $273,598,000, which was an increase of roughly $37 million over the prior year of 2022. Be happy to answer any questions that you all may have, but that concludes my portion of my report of what transpired in 2023.
Do we have any questions, comments?
Well, for 2024, are you expecting to pick up any more carriers or start doing some more of the big flights that are going out?
Our big project right now is our terminal, and we really don't have the space or capacity to go after any type of new carrier or anything. We have discussions with carriers. We're hoping that we'll see some new carriers come in, or some additional new routes come in after the terminal is completed, or at least after next year when half of the terminal is completed. But right now for 24, we're trying to get by with this limited space that we have and with the carriers that are operating there.
So do you think that'll kind of max us out when you do finish?
I'm sorry?
You think we'll still be maxed out for space when you do get it finished? You're renovating, you're not adding on to, correct?
No, we are. The terminal itself, the existing terminal, which is half gone, was 113,000 square feet. The new terminal is 275,000 square feet, for more than 150% bigger. We're going from 7 gates to a total of 12 aircraft gates. So we are expanding and obviously, putting a lot more space into that. The first 7 gates will open next summer, followed by the following 5 by mid-27. And the gates that we will open in next summer will be roughly a little over 100,000 square feet, so almost what the whole terminal was. So we will have a lot more space to accommodate. We are building the terminal to be able to accommodate 4 million passengers, and we just surpassed 2.2 million this year. So we have a few years out. We keep waiting for that bubble to break and our numbers to come back into the single-digit increases. Right now we're still looking at about 20% increase right now for this year. So, but we are building for 4 million passengers. So we've got some wiggle room between now and the next 10 years.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You will.
Where's the airport rank in traffic compared to other North Carolina airports?
We are now the 3rd largest commercial service airport in North Carolina, following Charlotte and Raleigh. And
Wow.
this is our 3rd year, going into the 3rd year that we're now number 3. So we've surpassed Greensboro about 2 years ago. So we continue to grow.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is for our community.
Yeah.
And I know you've gone vertical now with the new tower.
Yes.
What's the?
Towers going up. The complete base building has been, I won't say dried in yet, but all the precast panels around that. And they're on the 3rd level now of the tower cab, or the tower, what's what I'm looking for?
Pedestal, I guess.
The pedestal, yeah. But they're on the 3rd layer going out. So it is progressing. They're probably around 4 to 5 months behind schedule. From early on, when they first started a year and a half ago, they are starting to make up some time and things are moving. So we'll see where it happens. But that should be sometime in late 25, that should be completed.
Do you have any current concerns or areas that you feel are areas of weakness?
Parking is always one. I mean, we just added the 600 spaces down south of the Triangle parking spot, and we're filling up that. We are working with Sheets which is going in across the street from the airport. That they're in the process now of getting all their permitting done. They're going to be building for us some additional parking on the west side or on the east side of 280, so that will help. And then we're hoping to take in either September or October a new scope of work with an engineering firm to start planning our second garage.
Nice.
So hopefully within 2 to 3 years, we'll start building that.
How do you feel about things of security, especially in the realm of your software or
You know,
cyber
we've got a
issues?
phenomenal IT department. It's something that we always take into concern, especially something after like CrowdStrike that happened a few weeks ago. But no, we're good. We have protocols that the FAA requires us to follow, so we're good with that. Our only other concerns that we've got right now is, again, limited space right now because of construction to operate. The airlines are limited on personnel, so there have been a number of times where airplanes come in and there's not a gate for them to pull into, or the airlines don't have the personnel that they can handle. If there may be an open gate, but they don't have the personnel because they're already working 1 or 2 flights. So people will, they'll sit on the taxiway or the apron for, 30 minutes or a little longer. We're tracking that. The airlines have done a much better job curtailing those holdout times, but that's our only other concerns. Again, it's more for the experience that the passengers are encountering versus anything else. So hopefully when the new terminal's done, we won't have those issues because we'll have the expanded gate capacity.
You're just going to have to rely on a little bit more patience, right?
Yes, ma'am, we do. It's during construction. We're working on it.
Good job.
All right, do we have any other questions, comments? Well, we thank you for being here and appreciate all you all are doing.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. If y'all want to come out, be happy to show you a tour of what's going on with construction and set some time too. So just let us know and we'll go from there. Mr. Bieberdorf knows how to get a hold of me, so we're happy to get you over and show you around.
Sounds good, thank you.
And just as a side note, I want to express our thank you and our gratitude from the airport. We use your facilities now for our board meetings.
That's
and
right.
we've been now for a year. September will be a year. And it works out great for us in the temporary, conditions that we don't have
Sure.
space with our board to meet. So this works out really well. So we're very appreciative of you guys letting us use the facility. So thank you.
We're glad it works out, thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, moving on to item number 7. We're going to have the public hearing to consider possible amendments to Article 12 and 18 of the Fletcher Land Development Code regarding family subdivision and street access. Eric, the floor is yours.
All right, good evening, everybody. Well, to pick up on where we left off last week, I'll just say again for the record that tonight's amendments that we're discussing are related to family subdivisions and street access. You have the highlighted red text were the draft amendments in your packets that we talked about last week. One thing I want to pick back up on is the question that came up at the very end the other night where Councilman Lance asked about hypothetical width on a right-of-way, and we're on section 12.3 D. In the little section about 3 and 4 lot subdivisions, I had added a section that said, by a privately deeded and platted right-of-way or easement in instances where family subdivision is permitted. Councilman Lance brought up the question of how wide should that right-of-way be. I actually, it was a simple question at the time. I struggled a little bit with it. It's just there's so many different scenarios that can come up. I think in most cases with a family subdivision, you're going to be talking about access to a fairly small property. So I don't think you want to require an extremely large right-of-way as a minimum. I think it'd be hard to write if you come up with multiple scenarios, like if it was a family subdivision on a very big tract of land, you could hypothetically need a wider right-of-way. I think that comes down to staff needing to kind of advise people as you're talking to them in that due diligence. What I was thinking and kind of settled on and was gonna talk about with you was a hypothetical 20 feet wide minimum for a deeded right-of-way or easement, just because that would account for two-way traffic in the event that family sold that off and it became like a private road. You wouldn't need a wide right-of-way where it's going to be, you know, town infrastructure or anything. So I thought 20 was a good starting point, but as is the case with property, when you're looking at the maps with people that come in the office, if you see, you know, large tract acreage, it's like, you'll say that if you want to be careful and have the ability to do a public road coming in there and it has to skirt around another property that's not in the mix for discussion or sale, that's where you run into the possibility that you end up with good prime land that won't ever be developed, so.
Yeah, the reason I was brought that up is, I know there was a discussion of basically saying, this can help our landlocked and everything else, that's why I kind of brought that up, if it's a minimum right-of-way, or if there's anything, or if it's a large tract of land, where if you're saying the town can make a recommendation, I'm good with that as well. I just don't want to make sure that we get in front of it.
Yeah.
Like if somebody has 10 acres or whatever, or 5 acres, or whatever it is, 30 acres, we get in front of it and allow them to make that 40-foot right-of-way, in case that ever happens, where somebody sells in the back that it's already established.
Right.
Not saying that they have to make the road 20-something feet.
Yeah, just leaving
It's got to
that
have a right-of-way,
right.
so you ain't landlocking it for way in the future. Now, if they only own like an acre of land, that's right. You know, I could throw a rock and
Yeah.
you won't need a 40-foot right-of-way, because that's probably
Exactly.
going to allow you with your zoning, you can only have so many houses anyway.
Right.
So that's why I brought that up, but thank you for that.
Okay. So, if that's the recommendation, well, I didn't provide it in draft form to you, but basically, if there's a motion shortly to recommend the approval of these, just to say with changes noted, and what I would be doing is drafting the final draft and with an ordinance document for the mayor to sign, and just run with that. So, let Preston be an extra set of eyes to make sure I went through with your wishes then, so.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Again, thank you for all your hard work, and did a phenomenal job, so thank you for that.
All right, do we have any other questions or comments before the public hearing? All right, do we have a motion to open the public hearing for the recommended, the possible amendments, to Article 12 and 18 of the Fletcher Land Development Code?
Make a motion?
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of going into public hearing, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, we're on public hearing, we don't have anybody signed up. Is there anybody wishes to speak? All right, hearing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Okay, we have a motion to close the public hearing, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to close the public hearing, is there any discussion? All those in favor of closing public hearing, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Nobody's here. All right, we're outside of public hearing. All right, so the motion needs to be to either approve or deny the proposed amendments to Article 12 and 18 of the Fletcher Land Development Code, and then any additional language that we just discussed with Eric, if that's what you all want to do.
I make a motion to accept the Article 12 and 18, and I guess the additional language you're coming up with.
Sounds good enough for me. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the recommended amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Eric. All righty, moving on to item number 8, the selection of candidates for the Parks and Recreation Board. We got 3 candidates there and right in front of you. Mr. Miller, Brett Miller, is that his last name?
Yes, Brett.
Brett Miller, I guess he wasn't able to come this time either. Did we hear from?
From him, and I did attempt to contact him, yes.
Okay, well then we've heard from all the candidates, so if you all are comfortable voting, you can just mark whoever you want to choose. You have to choose 2 folk, and you need to sign your name at the top of the ballot.
I told him I know before I had the instructions.
You're fine.
Oh, shame on you.
Where's your instructions?
Checks and names.
Oh, that's the idea. You sign, that's your instructions, you're fine.
Instructions.
I didn't know there was instructions.
I could have circled it.
Do we need to circle? I don't know. I just checked.
All right, we, Eric was unanimous, but then we have a split for the other candidate. My preferred choice is Lori. So I'll accept the motion to appoint. Can we do it all in one motion for both of them? Or do we need to be two separate motions?
It'd probably be just better for,
Two separate motions?
yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to reappoint Eric Weber to the Parks and Rec Board?
Make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second. Either way.
We'll say Keith. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? You know, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, motion carries. And again, my preferred candidate is Lori, so I will ask for a motion to appoint Lori Bolam, hope I'm saying her last name correctly, to the Parks and Rec Board. Do we have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor of appointing Lori, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion carries. And that brings us to our town manager's report.
All right, so Mark presented his town manager report last Monday during the agenda meetings. There are nothing new, no updates from that, so
All righty.
if you need something from me, I'm here all week.
Do we need anything from Heather right now? Nope. All right, well, Heather, we thank you for being here this evening. We appreciate it.
Did we keep it easy on you,
Yes,
Jen?
I'll take this kind of agenda, right?
Yeah, this is 20 minutes, not bad. All righty, any other business from council? All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
Is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second?
Second.
Hear a motion and a second to adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? We are adjourned.
And all. As long as they